Alright, there you go. That was Croydon Girl. Well, I say she's Croydon Girl. She's from, she was in the Brit School. That is Katie B and Leave the Lights On. You know, God help her parents' electricity bill. That's all I got to say. Anyway, let me wind this one down because I did promise you we've been plugging it for absolutely ages. We have a massive interview with one of the best DJs around. Formerly of the Artful Dodger, now going under Artful. Here is Mark Hill. Mark, how are you, sir?
I'm not bad at all, mate. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. As I say just a minute ago, thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot to us. And when I was telling people, putting it all over Facebook and everything, that you were coming on, and the response I was getting was brilliant.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So tell me what you've been up to.
You know what? It's been quiet for a few years, as you might have realised. So I was just kind of enjoying life. I've got 2 kids now and another one on the way. So I've got like 3 little girls. And married and stuff, and it wasn't until a couple of years ago really that I started kind of really enjoying being back in the studio, and now I've got a new album coming out soon. A new track could just be the bass line with Cal Lavelle at the moment that I wrote with Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
But I'm doing kind of everything because I split from the Artful Dodger in 2001.
Yep.
And Pete's I think split from them soon after that as well, and he's got his own project, Devolution at the moment. I'm just kind of, going out, still kind of keeping part of the brand. So it just kind of made sense to do it as Artful, really, because it is very much a sort of solo project.
Okay.
And a kind of collaboration project, really.
Sure. Now, you said your 3rd little girl's on the way.
Yeah.
Now, all I say, you know what happens when they become teenagers and boys come around? Are you prepared for that?
Well, I think I'm planning a big world tour around then.
Well, I say, if you need a baseball bat, I've got one. Trust me, it's going to get difficult.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! I mean, the hormones are going to be insane.
Now, you said you've been working with Ed Sheeran. How was that?
Fantastic! Yeah, what a talent! It was great. We actually wrote the track last September, so it was kind of before he got signed and stuff. But I knew he was kind of destined for big things. So, such a talented guy, so hard working as well. He was kind of gigging almost every other day back then, and he was really focused, really hard working in the studio, and it was an absolute sort of privilege to work with him, really.
Yeah, but you're saying he's hard working. I was looking at looking on Wikipedia, and it says here Mark has achieved 4 Ivor Novello Awards, a #1 album, 2 #1 singles, and over 10 million record sales. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's not hard work though, is it? It's fun.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it was, kind of back, when I was young, free and single and didn't have any kind of responsibilities, it was quite easy to sort of stay up day and night in the studio and crank out those tracks. It's a bit tougher these days to try and sort of squeeze it all in, but doing my best.
Mate, you sound quite blasé about it. If you want to lend me a $5, do you know what I mean? I don't mind. But looking at this, it says here also, if you don't mind, I was looking at, obviously when you're doing the research into the interviews, that, and I want to know, is this true, that you used to play along with the radio to Stevie Wonder and George Benson?
Oh, yeah, definitely, massive. Like, I mean, I kind of get a lot of my sort of kind of guitar style of playing, because I obviously played not only on the Artful Dodger stuff, on all kind of Craig David's Born to Do It and all that sort of stuff. So all that kind of guitar was kind of heavily influenced by the likes of sort of George Benson and also, the sort of Quincy Jones production, his style of kind of, the way he kind of recorded and sort of produced sort of guitars on.
So has that influenced your new music?
Yeah, there's still a touch of that. I mean, it's the new stuff is kind of, it's still got a sort of, flavour of the old Artful Dodger stuff, like two-step beats, but it's much more kind of current, production style, much more current, some of the sounds I'm using. But there's still, a few of the old kind of favourite sounds that I used to use because, they're just sort of pretty timeless. So, but there's definitely a real sort of guitar influence kind of going through the new stuff as well. So, yeah, I can't wait for you all to hear it.
Nice. Now, most people know you because you say you've been away for quite some time now. But most people know you from Born to Do It with Craig David. Rewind is one we're going to play that a little bit later. Now, how did that all come about?
It was I was actually running a small studio with a mate of mine, Neil, down in Southampton, and we were sort of set up to kind of record bands and all that sort of stuff. But because we put all our money into building the studio, but absolutely no money into marketing, so most of the time the studio was empty. So I got a real sort of chance to spend a lot of time on my own, kind of making music instead of recording other people's music. Mm-hmm. And it was through that I met Pete, the other half of the Artful Dodger, and we started kind of making some tunes. But Craig had actually been in with a mate of his, Aaron, and through a friend of mine, Tony Briscoe. They had actually been in to use the studio a couple of years before we started doing the Artful Dodger stuff. And when we were at the stage where we wanted to kind of write and produce some original music, I actually bumped into Craig coincidentally in a club. He was DJing downstairs, I was DJing upstairs playing garage, and I played him a few of the records and he loved them, and said he would pop down to the studio, and I had no idea whether he could write at the time, and I knew his voice was pretty good, but I didn't know what to expect.
Because let's be honest, without that track, that put Craig David on the map. I mean, Born to Do is a great album, but that really, the public suddenly knew who he was from that track. Yeah,
very much so. It was quite funny actually, because his record company, because he got signed after we did the Artful Dodger stuff, and I was working with Craig on the Born to Do It stuff, and he got signed, and they didn't want him to even be a part of Rewind. They thought, it's just a dance record. It's not, they didn't really take it seriously at all, which is why he's not in the video. But it was only when it started blowing up and we, got on Top of the Pops, they actually kind of let him. And so, okay, or maybe we will let him come and do Top of the Pops and all that sort of stuff.
Mate, you should have seen that track down in Croydon on a Friday night. It was manic.
Oh, I bet.
I'll tell you now, I've got to say thank you very much, because there was many a dancer and many a girl to that song, so thank you.
My pleasure, man.
My wife's listening, so I can't go in, but I'll tell you when they're off air. Do you know what I mean? I was like, whoa, we're going to quickly move on. Now, Pete's obviously, you left Artful.
Yeah.
Pete's left Artful. Is there any plans for you two to work together, or are you actually just going to go out on your own now?
No, I think I've seen him quite a few times recently, and we've been sort of helping each other with, obviously, because he's plugging his own stuff with Tom DeVos, the Devolution stuff, which I think is brilliant. And, it was quite bizarre, because it was a complete coincidence that we both sort of put these records out, and it got kind of good radio support at the same time. So, we've been kind of doing our best to sort of help sort of push each other. And, we've sort of caught up a few times recently, and I think the last time we spoke, I was sort of showing him a kind of new studio that was set up down here, and we both mentioned the idea of, it might be quite a good crack to maybe not to do it as like an Artful Dodger track, but to do it as a kind of collaboration between Artful and like Devolution, get Tom DeVos involved, and maybe do some remixes and stuff, and see where that goes really. But I know it'll satisfy a lot of people. I get sort of tweeted on Twitter all the time about, when are you going to get back with Pete, or when are you going to do stuff with Craig David, so... I think it'll be good fun.
Because that is the obvious question, though, isn't it? I know you said you've just been working with Ed Sheeran, but the obvious question is always going to be: are you going to do something now that you're coming back? Are you going to do something with Craig David? Because Craig apparently has got something coming out in January.
Yeah, there was an open offer. The problem with Craig is because he's based in Miami now and spends a lot of time either there or touring. I'm not one for kind of writing remotely, so the idea of sending him tracks and all that sort of stuff, for me it doesn't work, because all the best music we've written kind of together in the studio together. So and I think I don't want to, just for the sake of doing it, end up sending him a load of beats and put something mediocre out. If we're going to do it, I want to do it properly. So, but I've extended the invitations, an open invitation, so whenever he's back in this country and he's got a bit of time, to come down, and I'd love to see him again and spend some time in the studio. He's a very talented bloke.
Well, I'm hoping to get him on air in about January, because I know he's got some new stuff coming out, so I'll plug it for you, mate.
Yeah.
I will manage it, do you know what I mean? I'll take 95% of the proceeds, I don't mind.
Oh, that's a bargain.
So, I mean, obviously, ignoring the work you do with Craig and Pete, but you've been working with Ed Sheeran, is there any other artists you're going to be working with?
Loads. I've just done a load of writing with Doneo, actually. So,
okay.
Yeah, I've had him in the studio for a few days, and we've got quite a few tracks coming out. I've done some stuff with Terry Walker. I've been working with Da Vinci quite a lot. So, I like to work with a lot of these new guys, because it kind of keeps me fresh. But also sort of spotting kind of up and coming, people that aren't so well known, like Sean Williams, Danny at the board, people like that I've got hopefully on the new record. And I'm just really excited about a lot of the new talent that's out there. And I want to keep myself fresh as well, so it's good to work with sort of fresh people and try new things and find new sounds and stuff. So I've got my eye on quite a few people that I might potentially sign to my label as well.
Okay, so what was the thing you were doing with Corinne Bailey Ray?
That was it's like I kind of was about 4 or 5 years ago. I just put an album. It was a bit of a labour of love. It was quite an expensive project to put on, because we had a big 16-piece band and stuff. But there was just a lot of tracks I've been writing with people over the years that were just sort of sat, literally doing nothing in the studio. So I thought, I'm just going to sort of take the best of those, put them together, and just kind of put a real, much more kind of laid-back sort of soul album together. Some of the songs. And, like Lifford was on there, Michelle Scoffey, who was on the Artful Dodger stuff.
Yeah.
But I sort of through her manager, I'd heard a lot of touring stuff, and actually flew her out to Ibiza to come and do some sort of songwriting out in Ibiza in my studio.
All right.
And, one of the tracks, Young and Foolish, that came out of that, I just asked at the time, so, nothing was happening with either of us. I said, I'd love to put it out. So we ended up kind of putting this album together with that track on it, and that was our first single. So, yeah, we released the single. But at the time, it was so expensive to do. I mean, that shooting video and all that sort of stuff, and we just didn't have the infrastructure to kind of, because it was all done independently.
So you still got a studio on Ibiza?
No, I sold that a few years ago.
Oh, mate, I was going to say, can I get a free holiday?
Yeah, it's a shame, man. Yeah, I'd love to. I actually love it. We contemplated even when our eldest was born, actually moving out there for good and kind of living out there, but at the time it wasn't practical. I'm kind of glad now because I need to be in this country really to work as hard as I'm working.
So where's the new studio now?
It's actually down in, I've had this place, it's a place called Colbury Manor down just on the outskirts of Southampton and the New Forest.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I live here as well, so I've got a sort of studio in the house and, do all my stuff here at the moment, but yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Now, you are a Wales boy.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you feeling about the rugby?
Oh, mate, I was up at 6 a.m. I was a happy man. Like, yesterday was, yesterday was a good day. And, commiserations to England. I mean, they put up I'd say they put up, they didn't put up much of a fight.
So I would end even if you right here if you carry on.
Yeah, but, I genuinely actually wanted England to win yesterday because, I'd love to have, had the chance to see a Wales-England game because I thought it was a good crack. I love rugby anyway because it's always like, people don't get as kind of passionate and as aggressive, watching rugby as they do with football.
Yeah.
So you can go to a pub and, with a load of kind of English guys and kind of enjoy it like that. So I've really enjoyed the World Cup. I think Wales are playing very well. So
they could get through to the final.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm loving the idea of a Wales-New Zealand final. I think that would work nicely.
Can the pubs handle it? That's the question. So when's the new stuff coming out?
Well, could just be the bassline's out at the moment. So with Calavel. So you can catch a video on YouTube. It's getting kind of good play on some of the sort of smaller stations, but the likes of Radio 1, etc. haven't supported it yet. But we kind of never expected them to, this early on. And just working on what's going to be the next single at the moment. So in the next few weeks, I'm going to look at soon putting out at least a track a month.
Okay, nice.
So some of it may be free, like kind of free downloads and all that sort of stuff. But I really want to build the momentum now.
Sure. What about touring and where can people see you out?
Yeah, very soon. I've been kind of holding back really because I've been offered a lot of gigs, kind of doing old school garage sets. But I actually wanted to establish the new music. And I want to go out there and tour the new stuff as well as I always play the old classics. But I wanted to kind of establish the new stuff before I just got kind of ended up being known for just doing old school kind of garage raves and all that sort of stuff. So sort of planning a tour at the moment. Got sorted out an agent, and we'll also put a live band together as well. So we've got like a 4 or 5 piece band with some kind of electronic stuff. So we want to go out and do some live shows as well and some acoustic stuff. So,
well, if you want a saxophone player who's like can just about play a tune, I'm your man.
Oh, wicked! What tunes can you play?
Alto sax.
Oh, brilliant!
I can kill a tune really well.
Excellent.
Anyway, Mark, thank you so much for coming on. Stay online. We'll have a chat in a little while. But thank you so much for coming on. I say it is huge for us to get you on air. So we're very, very grateful.
Mate, it's a pleasure.
Right now, for all listeners, this is the one that you all know him from. But we will over the next couple of weeks we'll be playing Mark's newer stuff. But this is the Artful Dodger featuring Craig David and Rewind.